guys.
Hello, we're here.
Whew.
So, yeah, everything's been absolute madness. I kind of went on a sort of vacation and then we cut it short, came back home, and then I launched my Kickstarter today. I've been working on it prior to leaving on the vacation, so everything's just been absolute chaos.
Yep.
And now my throat's been stupid all day, so wonderful. Yeah, it's okay. How has things been for you? I also forgot to mute my notifications.
Absolutely insane.
Yeah, I mean, it's like about the end of school.
So we've got map testing next week. I've had 2 out of the 4 food labs that my 8th grade does in the spring are done. So
Wow.
we've got 2 more to do. One of them is a really big, like grilled cheese wars. So that's like a whole big thing. It's like we spend a week planning for it. So it's like
Wow.
that's going to be a big thing. But yeah. So we're kind of getting ready for that, and I don't know. It's just yeah, and kids are just starting to behavior is just always fun, especially when there's less than a month of school left.
They all start acting crazy.
Absolutely insane. It's like ISS
Yeah.
all the time. Like there's always kids getting in trouble, and I'm having to remind them of decent behavior. Like it's okay to act like a decent human being. Like you don't have to be like that. And the gaslighting is a huge issue. Like I'm like,
really,
I'll watch a kid do something, or I'll be doing something, and a student will just tell me that so and so did something, and when I go to address that person, they're like, "Oh, I didn't do anything. Oh, I didn't do anything. I didn't do anything." Oh, oh. And I'm just like, "Oh my god, stop!"
Oh my goodness, that's crazy.
And I'm like, like it's like the boy who cried wolf. I'm like, I don't believe either one of you.
Yeah,
Because they do that to each other all day long, all week long, like for a week and a half now, and I'm just like, I don't believe any of you at this point.
That's crazy.
You can tell me all these things, and I won't believe a word of you, except for maybe a handful of you that actually know what they're doing. It's crazy.
Well, since we got back from our sort of kind of vacation, I haven't gotten shifted back to my normal schedule. So I end up falling asleep on the couch at from 2 to 6 a.m. Can't stay awake no matter what I try to do. And then I will wake up around 10 or 11 o'clock. So I've been up since then. And I'm tired because it's just not my schedule. But since this morning, I was like, I'll go ahead and do it for one more day at least because I went ahead and launched Hunter's Kickstarter. And it's better to do that in the morning anyway. So my brain is not braining, but other than that, I'm doing great and just really busy and stuff. So if I am stupid and have no words or I space out, that is why my brain is just not to its normal sleep capacities. And I've also kind of hit a reading slump, sort of. Like I'm still technically reading, but I'm reading my own stuff right now. So yeah, but we'll get into that later as we get into our,
that's fair.
Reads and stuff. So
sounds good.
Again, words.
Alrighty, so do we want to start with what we read last month, or
we can kind of get into May.
Okay, so do we want to bounce it, or do you want to just you go, I go, or whatever? Doesn't matter to me.
We can bounce.
Okay.
We can bounce.
Okay, cool. Okay. So I honestly had just finished Throne of Glass at the beginning of April, so I'm not really counting that one, my reread of Throne of Glass. So I have been reading the Throne of Glass rereading the Throne of Glass series in the background as I kind of read other books. I'm mainly listening to the audiobooks, which I still count as reading, because I'll bounce back and forth. A majority of Throne of Glass has been audiobook listening, but I'm still reading when I get the chance to. It's just this time of year is just insane. But
Mhm.
I have read in the background. I've read through Crown of Midnight and Air of Fire. So I've read through these two. And like I definitely remember why this one Air of Fire is my favorite. Like not
It's a really
favorite,
good one.
but it's like we're first introduced to Rowan, like she's kind of going through and figuring things out for the first time, and I like really like that. And so it was
Mhm.
just felt nice, and she's like interacting with the kind of like the semi-fae, semi-human people, and she's kind of like completely gotten out of like her previous environment, and she's like in a whole new environment, and it's just kind of refreshing, I guess, because we've
Mhm.
been in the same location for the first couple, like for the first, you know, I don't know, it's just first couple books we've been in that same location, and it was nice. It's just nice
Isn't
getting
that
out of
also
that.
the book when Aoden is introduced?
Adion, yeah,
Or Adian?
and then Manon as well. Um,
Yeah, so Aiden, like, I completely pictured him differently, and I had to, like, when he first became a POV character, I was like, oh, I've been doing picturing this guy all wrong. Like a
mm-hmm,
grumpy old warrior, like, barbaric type of dude. And
mm-hmm,
I'm like, he's supposed to be good looking, so I've got to look up some fan art because I've had this guy all wrong.
mm-hmm,
And I like him now. So
yeah,
we're gonna like it was completely he surprised me how much I loved his character
mm-hmm,
because that was not the
yeah,
vibe that I got look from the outside looking in.
mm-hmm,
And then in his head you're like,
yeah,
oh, you're actually a pretty cool dude.
yeah,
You know, that kind of thing. So
yep.
so that one's another plus you like you
It,
said, Rowan and the Fae, like the new location and
um,
it's definitely
it was interesting getting to see Maeve again. The queen, the Fae Queen, that turned out to be not a Fae at all. Um, like understanding who she is now and kind of going back and like rereading those beginning parts where we didn't really know who she was. And it was just really interesting to kind of get that perspective again. And it's just, and
Mhm.
it blows my mind just how intertwined, how like she had like messed with like whole like groups of like populations of people's memories, to think that she was actually a sibling. And it just blew, like the more I thought about it as I was reading, I'm like, this is crazy. She has literally everyone convinced. Like reading that original book, you would have had no idea just the extent that she went through to like twist everybody around. And it's just, it's, I don't know. And I like that
Yeah.
a lot.
Mhm.
And I'm like, I
Yeah,
don't know.
it's new
It's
perspective and very true.
this series feels a little different for me now, but it's just because I'm getting the like outside looking in kind, like I'm got the whole picture now. So it's just, it's different, a different experience for sure. Like I'm curious. I'm gonna read Assassin's Blade, which I'll talk more about that in a bit. But I'm curious to see how my thoughts on Empire of Storms would change. I know there's certain aspects of it that I'm still not going to like. Um, I just know that
Mhm.
I'm solidified in my opinions of those specific things. Um, but yeah, I don't know. I I'm not as looking for. I'm getting really. I'm just kind of like dragging through them. I don't want to. I don't want to like. I want to completely reread through the series, but I'm
Mhm.
just, that's like part of the reason why I chose to like read other books in the background is because I was not wanting to start with this series, and the layout, the plan that I found started with this one, because most people like the official, like what a lot of people consider the reading order that most people go with is the one that it gave me. And so I was just like, I don't know. And just because I know that there are those things in Empire, again, Empire of, was it like Empire of Storms? I still have Queen of
Yeah.
Shadows to read through, which I think I'm going to enjoy as well. But I think I don't know. I don't know how I'm gonna feel about Empire of Storms. I'm just there's the
Yeah.
whole them planning to use Aedion for an heir without even consulting him about it. That whole thing just essentially
Yeah.
like using him for sex essentially in their own plan without even consulting him just feels like a violation of like human
Yeah.
rights and human
It's like
decency. It feels like a huge
it's kind of like the
violation.
Bridgerton
And it's
thing.
like
It's
I
kind of
don't
like the Bridgerton thing, but
mm-hmm.
like the Bridgerton thing actually did the
Yeah.
deed. In this case, they planned it, but still
Yes.
nothing is
In
addressed.
my eyes, planning if you're planning it to that extent, then you've essentially done it. And it's like
Yeah.
it just and I'll see a handful of people like on Reddit posts or whatnot or like in comments that will really defend that they're the same stance that I am is like that's like it was just ridiculous that he had every right to be upset and angry at her.
Yeah.
And I'm just like but
Yeah.
I don't see people talking about it enough, and it just like I don't know, like I can't
At least
even
Bridgerton had an outrage about it.
yeah, and
Like,
it's just
I get
like
it's still planning versus done, but still.
yeah, and like and I've seen a lot of people say like the like at least I've seen like interviews with authors say that like it's you know your characters in books aren't going to be perfect, and that's where it's like the I don't know like her not
Yeah, but then
communicating
their
with
bad
people.
deeds would be called out, and they would have to
Yeah,
apologize in its own.
yeah,
So
and
that's
it's
not
like
the to me.
no
That's
well
not like the
I'm
same thing.
sorry I had moved on from that other but my brain hadn't
Oh,
vocalized that. No, that's completely
oh,
separate thought from what we're there but yeah like it was I was thinking about like all the times
oh,
where like she just doesn't communicate with people, and it's like I
yes,
totally
okay,
get it
yeah.
like the last couple times that she communicated with people she got stabbed in the back or someone died close to her that she cared about died, so like I totally get why she doesn't want to communicate with people, like I totally get that history. It just we see the worst of that in Empire of Storms, and it always conveniently she conveniently always ends up on top. There's like it happens over
It's
and
trying to be
over
like a
and
bad,
over,
like
and I'm just like
it's portrayed as like I'm such a good female character, and it's kind of portrayed as like not a flaw. It's portrayed as like I'm one upping everybody else,
yeah.
and I'm so good, and like that's how. And then at this point, she should grow and like
Well, it's just like it
should
just
know that she can
yeah.
trust her people.
Well,
Like this is
yeah,
her people. They're not going to betray her. So to me, that's like not a
yeah,
good viable reason for her
yeah.
issue.
I just think I don't know. It just feels like there's always something that comes up that gets her out of the mess that she's put herself in. So much
Hmm.
so that when she finally gets like stuck in the mess that she's made for herself, I don't feel sorry for her. I just feel irritated. And I want to feel sorry for her. I want to have that sorrowful crying moment that everyone else has. Like I have it, but it's just not for her. It's for all the side characters.
Hmm.
And like the relationship with the one guy, the guy that's with Rowan's group, that's kind of like a double, kind of a bad guy, but not really, kind of, sort of, bad guy turns good kind of character. I forget his name. But like,
Orphan.
Lorcan, yes. And it's like, I had grown to really love that pairing. And so that's the part that I was
Hmm.
emotional with at the end of Empire Storms is that one. Not
Yeah.
not oh look at me calling her Feyre. It's that time of day.
Yeah.
Anyway, I could sit here and rant for hours. All right. What have you been reading?
So April, I read. First of all, I read Water Rising by H.A. Pruitt. The next book of this series, Fire Blazing, has just come out. So I bought the hardback special edition and I just dropped a bookmark on the floor, so I'm gonna have to pick it up in a minute. But I loved this, and like there was over like 100 pages of bonus content where she talks about like the spiritual aspects of the book, and it like really touched me at a time when I needed it for I don't remember
Mhm.
now, but like whatever I was going through, and like how the deep calls to deep, and like God is so much deeper and bigger and more vast than we are, and when we're drowning in our circumstances and the bad things that are happening around us, like God
Mhm.
knows how the outcome is supposed to be, and like there's just light and a dawn waiting right at the end of the darkest night. And it's such a powerful message, and it like really touched me.
Mm-hmm.
So her, and plus on top of that, you have this big fantasy adventure. It's a portal fantasy with like four teenagers, so it's very Chronicles of Narnia-ish, and very, very good YA um type of story. So I read that one. I don't think I can get the bookmark right now. I was trying to, but maybe I can get it with my foot. Um so anyways, um and then I read alongside that one, I actually read, I can't type. I have it unlock my Kindle. Um the Kickstarter for authors, um which you can see I've been in this book to like, I keep referencing this book. So it's a Kickstarter for authors, book by Anthea L. Sharp. And ironically, I like backed the Kickstarter. So I got this and a bunch of other bonus content from her Kickstarter. And it's a nonfiction. So she goes over all of the, I got the bookmark. I'm
Mm-hmm.
skilled with my feet. Um Anyways, so she literally breaks everything down about running a Kickstarter and everything. So I read through it before I launched Hunter's Kickstarter. And she even does like chapters where it's like you need to go here and click here and you can do this thing. Like she
Mm-hmm.
gives you the steps. And like this the shipping is scary, especially if you're going to ship. Like right now, mine, in order to have sprayed edges, I have to ship from a company called Book Vault that is in the UK. So
Oh,
you're
okay.
shipping from the UK to the US to ship it to you, or they do
Mm-hmm.
drop shipping. And if you also ship internationally, that's a very scary subject because of shipping costs and like every active like day or
Mm-hmm.
like prices go up and change and shift, and like, it's just a really scary topic. So she like breaks down everything so that you can kind of grasp the concepts and everything.
Mm-hmm.
So I read that. And then I read, actually April's the month that I've read the most. So the next one I read was Liar in the Hollow Court by Bethany Adazada, which is like a no spice ACOTAR meets Pride and Prejudice, but like also the TV show Friends. So it's got a lot of found family and friends intermixed with that. And it's got like a very like creative, whimsical fae kind of realm type of thing. And the one thing that stood out to me, the main guy character is like Resand vibes, but like no spice. So I appreciated that. Um And then the other thing that I liked, this book made me realize how much Fae romantasy specifically has gotten really tropey. And I missed the days, like the era of Cassandra Clare and like this kind of book where like the Fae creatures or whatever would be pulled, like the author would pull inspiration from actual legends and actual myths and incorporate that into building the Fae race. Now all Fae are the same, and it's the romantasy trope, you know? But like she had a lot of like creative, just different fae races and different like goblin sort of creatures and just like this, but it's all cozy. And but there's still high stakes. Like there's a lot of deception, and it also deals with fae bargains. I miss fae bargains. Like there's a lot of that more like fae or sealies can't, as they're called in Cassandra Clare's books. They can't lie, so they find other creative ways to lie. And in this one, they have bargains, so they make deals with people, and it's about breaking bargains. And so she's having to go, she's a fish out of water. She's from the real world. So I related to the main character because she's basically me at 18, kind of like that. Like, she's not a good liar. And- yes. So it's like a portal in Earth, and you end up in the third. But she doesn't lie very well. So it's like bad for her to be lie. Yeah, actually, she's that's one of her comparative titles that she talks about too. Is a cool prince, but yeah, yeah, she says it's like the Cruel Prince, but not toxic and more cozy, I think is how she describes it. I've never read The Cruel Prince, so I can't attest. Oh, this one is so, yeah, I liked that in this one, they build a relationship and a romance, and it's really in depth. And it made me miss a lot of like, you're actually hanging out. Like, you actually have hobbies you do together. You're not just like lusting over one another every 2 seconds. There's no lust anyway. But it's just like when you actually like a person, you're going to hang out with them and you're going to actually do things with them. And no romantasy these days does that. I'm like, can't you guys actually find a hobby to do together?
Oh,
Like, come
yeah.
on, like, train with swords or clean swords or read a book or, play a game or do something. But they
That's
never
funny.
hang out. Like, I miss couples just hanging out and
Yeah.
having fun together. And like having those fun, what I call ship scenes, which is where you do something fun and silly together.
Mm-hmm.
And there's still that like enemy, like she thinks he's an enemy, and like Resand and how he's like pretending, like he makes her think that he's an enemy for
Mm-hmm.
like purpose, like Resand does. So, but I really liked it. So that was that one. And then I'll get on the book that I tried to read and DNF'd and why in a minute. Did you have any other? Because you were reading like Bridgerton and stuff too. I think I did all of
Yeah.
mine, and we were
I
supposed to go
was.
back and forth. And
No,
I
you're
did an
good.
oopsie.
I was gonna look. It looked like some things got changed, and so I wanted to check and see how long.
Okay.
Oh, so it's just for like a minute. I caught it. So for
Okay.
like a minute there, when you were talk, I don't know how far into it was, but for a minute there, it muted me, not you, and the camera was gone. But it was like we could hear you. It was like a true podcast. It's
Yay. That's funny.
okay.
Glad we got that straightened out.
Yeah, me too. Okay, so
So
let's
what else did you read last
see.
month?
Okay, so I also on the background because we were talking about, I don't know how I got onto the, oh, it was the whole upcoming Bridgerton thing, and we were talking about that, and I'm like, you know what, I actually want to read these. And so I found these. They have the I think they're called the, I don't know if they're like the deluxe edition. They're from Target, but they're like really pretty like covers from Target.
They're
And
pretty.
so like the ones that the Target that our local Target only has a handful of them, and they're not even like the books in order. So I read the first couple of them. So I read The Duke and I. That was like obviously book one. It was about Daphne and Simon. And I loved it up until like the last, like we've talked about this in previous live streams, but it was like for 80% of the book I absolutely loved it, but the last 20% it was just like
Rough.
the spicy scene that was, in my opinion, not very consensual. That is what
Mm-hmm.
completely ruined the book for me. Like it would have been a 5 star, and then I honestly went back later and changed it from a 4 to a 3.5 because it was just
Okay.
I
I
honestly
hadn't
was
heard that update.
I was on I was on edge reading the last little bit. Like I was not comfortable reading the last portion because I don't, it just the whole event just threw me off, and it was just, I
Mm-hmm.
don't know. I just wish that her behavior was addressed. I wish she was more. I wish she would have gotten kind of
I
like,
can't remember if it is in the TV show or not, if they changed it.
I don't know. I think they
I
hinted
don't
at
watch the
it.
same person.
It was hinted at a little bit, but it just, I don't know. The whole situation made me uncomfortable. And then she kind of halfway acknowledges it in her head, but like there are specific moments where mentally she thinks about if he knew what was going on, he would have stopped her. And she
That's
fully
clearly, you
fully
know, you're
knew
going
that.
against consent.
She fully
Yeah.
knew that. And then afterwards, bless his heart, he has like such a strong stutter, and he's trying to get, like, he's like stuttering, trying to get out to tell her to get away from him, and he can't even talk. And this is where I guess it's
That's
just poor
heartbreaking,
decisions
though.
for the author, because later he doesn't even acknowledge the fact that that happened, which I understand this took place years ago, like before mutual consent thing was talked about or was applauded.
Mhm.
So I get that. But it was like his problem was the fact that he stuttered in front of her. And I'm just like, her entire family, it doesn't even tell what she says to them. It's just kind of like it says that she talks to them and explains the situation. And so all they see,
That's
from what
really
we know
fake.
of, all we see is that he left her alone when she could potentially be pregnant. So yeah.
Wow.
But then we got this
I don't
beauty.
know. Yeah.
And then we had this beauty, which is Anthony
My
Bridgerton's
least
story.
couple of
Anthony and Kate. And I absolutely love it. Because he's
I hate
determined,
him.
like, it's just his whole backstory of like when his dad died young, he never could see himself living past his dad's age, so he just assumed that he was going to die at like 30. And so he was like very logical, like, I'm gonna find a wife and we're gonna have a child for an heir and it's gonna be great. And I'm not gonna love her, I'm not gonna fall in love with her, anything like that. And it was just like, I don't know. And she put a little snippet at the end that I genuinely really appreciated. Because where was it?
Did his dad die from a bee sting?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. I didn't know if that was the same.
Let's see. I don't know. I'm wanting to say she put something somewhere. Okay. She said Anthony's reaction to his father's untimely death is a very common one, especially among men. To a much lesser degree, women whose mothers die young react in a similar fashion. Men whose fathers die at a very young age are very often gripped with the certainty that they too will suffer the same fate. Such men usually know their fears are irrational, but it is nearly impossible to get past these fears until one has reached and passed the age of one father's death. And so she kind of goes into detail, like it's like the author's note at the end, and I'm like, I like that. Like it's, it's just yeah.
I don't appreciate that.
Yeah, and she said, since my readers are almost exclusively women, and Anthony's issue is much, to use of a very modern phrase, a guy thing, I worried that you might not be able to relate to his problem. As a writer of romance, I constantly find myself walking a thin line between making my heroes utterly and completely heroic and making them real. With Anthony, I hope I struck a balance. It's easy to scowl at a book and grumble, get over it already. But the truth is, for most men, it's not so easy to get over the sudden and premature loss of a beloved father. And she kind of goes on for a little bit longer, but I'm like, I genuinely, and it's
like that.
And there's moments where I'm just like, I just want to give him a hug. Like there's one point, like you've watched you've watched the show, right?
Yes.
So like, did it have the whole scene like where she gets stung by a bee? Was there a whole scene with that?
I can't remember. I think so.
And he, like, literally, in the book, you can tell he full on goes into a panic. Like, and is in his head, it's just that irrational fear, like, she's dying. She's dying. And it was just like, I just wanted to give him a hug. I'm just like, this poor boy. This poor man.
I'd be interested to read the book because I really didn't like them. They were not my favorite in the TV show.
Oh, their
attitude and dynamic with each other. I liked him as a character, and I liked her backstory. So I liked them separate. I didn't like genuinely together.
I genuinely think
that was like.
Oh yeah, I honestly think that you would like her because she's an older sister. He's trying to get with her sister, and she's like just insistent, like, your reputation is not good for my sister. You're not going to get with my sister. And
I relate to that a lot.
It would just like
having that expanded
but just a fair warning, there are a handful of scenes where like their relationship after, like, once they get married is very much like, I'm physically attracted to you.
Bridgerton.
Like, I'm physically attracted to you, but I don't want to fall in love. Because he thought he was going to die, and he didn't want to leave, like, have somebody fall in love with him, and then have them grieve. Like, it was just, like, a whole thing. So.
Yeah. Which, again, I like that she brought out that fear and, like, did research to, like, actually express the reality of people that go through that. And it makes sense that you wouldn't want to put somebody through grief when you know what that's like. So, like, closing him, I don't know. I feel like it gives him a lot more motivation. I don't know. I don't remember that being a big deal in the TV show. I remember he had issues, but if I remember correctly, it came about because he didn't want to settle down.
No.
But I couldn't.
It
I don't
was
remember.
it
I
was
could be wrong.
purely he didn't want to get, at least in the book it's described, he didn't want to, like, he'd been putting off getting married because he, like, essentially his whole thing was he was going to die young because his father died young.
Yeah.
And once he decided that it was time, it was kind of almost like a, he wasn't ready to fall in love, he was ready to find a wife, have an heir, so he could have an heir before
Hmm.
they die, before he dies. And it was
Yeah, and
like,
I feel like that's a really good mode. I really love that whole
yeah,
like the motivation there,
yeah,
and like again
definitely,
everything that she did it. So
yeah.
I don't know. Maybe they did, and I just forgot. It's been a
This is
while
where
since
I
I've
feel
watched
like
like
the
the first
TV
two
show
seasons.
should say inspired by the book series
Yeah, at what
Bridgerton,
point does a TV show need to say that about a TV?
because
Like, you
yeah,
know what I mean? Like,
yeah. So like, and that's the thing. And so after that, after I read those, I was kind of like, I was watching. Okay, context. I was watching through this whole last month. I was watching, or like the portion. I was watching the Artemis 2 and their whole journey around the moon, and I was just like obsessed with it. And so I finally went back and I actually um audiobook listened and read through portions of Endurance by Scott Kelly. And so
oh,
it's
okay.
like probably the first nonfiction in a long, not the first, but like in a long time.
It's been a long time.
I was in college. Like, I think the last nonfiction I read was Gorillas in the Midst by Diane Fossey, I believe. It was for a science class in State Fair in college, which was actually, I want to go back and reread that one. That one was an interesting book. She was um, she went and studied gorillas, and she kind of lived in a country like when what like you know worked with gorillas, and was
Hmm.
eventually buried there. And but yeah, it was like her whole story is really interesting. But um, I got sidetracked. This one is essentially kind of his life story and how he got to become an astronaut, and then mixed in with, like, there was moments of him on the space station mixed in. And so I think based on some of the reviews saw it, I think a lot of people thought it was like him logging his days on the space station for the year, but because it's like a year in space, a lifetime of discovery, and so I think people thought it was going to be completely like day 1 through day 365 of him being in the International Space Station, but it was
Hmm.
actually like his like backstory, his life on how he kind of got into the space program. He became like a pilot um, in the military first, and then got into which I guess is kind of like the path that you have to take to fly um, this like space shuttles and stuff. And so yeah, it was really interesting. I liked it. It was like, definitely it was like from a different POV, like from what I normally like, even like personal views of things. Like he, like, it's just interesting, and I enjoyed it. I didn't really have
That's good.
anything to compare it with, so I enjoyed it. It was good.
Hmm.
Okay, all right, and that was all the ones that I'd read, I started. Well, I'll talk about that when we talk about our upcoming TBR. So
Okay.
those are the ones that
I
we
actually
finished.
forgot. I forgot one. So when we went on our vacation, we had a 10-hour drive that the GPS lied, and it turned out to be like a 13-hour drive.
Mm.
So we most of the time we listened to one of my audiobooks for my book Rogue, and it's Valiant Book 5, but it's a series of standalones, so you
Mm-hmm.
can jump in any order. I don't have a copy of it on my Kindle. I don't know why. I don't have a copy of my own book, so I had to pull it up on Amazon. So sad day. But we listened to the audiobook, and it's a duet audiobook. So the guy reads all of the guy parts and the girl reads all of the guy parts, even when you go to like the girl has a chapter, the
Mm-hmm.
girl will be reading it and the guy
Yeah.
will still pop in and do the
Oh,
guy
okay. Yeah.
voices. So it's I got incredibly lucky because it's royalty share and you don't find those partners
Mm-hmm.
that do that in royalty share. So it is like I forgot how much I love Rogue, and it's like a fantasy adventure, like on a world completely made out of water. It's got a really in-depth magic system, and it's got romantic elements, and it's got the Pirates of the Caribbean type of humor. It still has a serious plot line, but there's a lot of like, how did we get ourselves into this mess kind of stuff. And Mythics is very much my husband's sense of humor, but he hasn't read the the edited version where Heather and I revised a lot of Mythics's character. And it was hilarious because we would be listening, and my husband would make a funny comment or a sarcastic comment, and then 2 seconds later, Mythics would say the exact same thing.
That's funny.
And I'm like, literally, Damon, Salvatore, and my husband, if they had a love child that had magic, that would be Mythics. Like, I mean, it's hilarious. And then we listened to the short companion to it called Bound. So, yeah, if you guys want to go get the audiobook, it actually supports the narrators. They get half of the royalties. So,
yeah,
getting the audiobook either through a credit on Audible or however you do that, it helps out me and the narrators.
Sweet.
There's two of them, Alana Nicole Cox and Adrian.
Sweet.
I forget his last name. Adrian Lopez, maybe? And he actually did Jared, because my character from Hunter pops in, Jared. In this one, he has a POV, and he did Jared better than Jared's, like, audiobook narrator, I would say. Like, Adrian is incredibly talented. And yeah, they just go on all kinds of whimsical adventures, and there's still, like, there's a couple no spice romances and just all these, like, how did we get ourselves into this mess and what is happening? And there's so many jokes, and it's hilarious, and I love it. And it ends on a horrible cliffhanger, and you'll probably want to throw the book across the room when you finish it.
That's funny.
But I apologize ahead of time. But I genuinely just enjoyed it as a reader, like not going through the editing process and being stressed, and like it was just like we're just listening to this fun adventure as we drove. And then I listened to Immortal. I started going back through Immortal again because my husband, on the way home from our vacation, he needed to listen to his own music on his headphones to stay awake, and so I started listening to Immortal. And Brandon J. Peterson is a master. He is so good at narrating, and I'm just so impressed. The other book that I started to read and DNF'd was Project Hail Mary by Andy Weir. It's a good book, and it has the strongest opening I've ever seen. I think I read it for you guys the last time we did a check-in. I just got bogged down by the science. Like, it was at the time I ended up not having enough time to read, and I hit all the science stuff, which slowed me down, and I just ended up not being able to finish it. And by the time I could come back to it, I'm like, you know what? I'm not in the mood anymore. So it's not a DNF. It's like like Tigger says, it's like ta-ta for now. It's like DNF for now kind of thing, because I'm going to come back to it. But it's heavy. And I kind of want to read it with my husband, because my husband can kind of explain things to me a lot better because he's a science person. And I think he would actually like it. Like, for all the reading slumps he's been in, because he's stuck in one genre and won't get out of it. But so it's a good book, and I'm not DNFing it like permanently. It's just I have to be in the mood for the heavy science stuff because my brain can't do
honestly,
it.
I don't remember. Like, I don't remember The Martian being super science heavy. You might try that one. That one's still good, really good too.
I'm not in the mood for science fiction anymore, so I'll have to wait till I get back in the mood for science fiction. I'm like, I don't know. We're gonna have to like spin a wheel and pick out a book for me or something at some point.
That's fair.
So, so yeah, those are everything. And then real quick, I just want to briefly, like, my Kickstarter just launched today, and I have both of the paperback editions. So in the Kickstarter for the ebook and the paperback tier, you can pick which cover you want. So that's the Burning Tree, parallels with Moses, for anybody who's curious. Imagine if Darth Vader became Moses and was chosen by God to set his people free and get redeemed. That would be my character. And then there's the couple illustration. And then the hardback has the original cover as the dust jacket, the plain illustration as the case laminate, and then this is going to be the end papers, and it's got beautiful sprayed edges. So yeah, check it out. I'll have a link in the comments, or you can find it on my YouTube channel. For anybody who's interested. So we fully funded in 42 minutes, and I was really happy about that.
That's awesome. Congratulations.
Thank you. 7-year anniversary, so it's Hunter's old birthday, 7 years.
Okay, so the book that I've already started reading, so kind of like leading into our current, like our TBR for this month, as I started reading To Sleep in a Sea of Stars by Christopher Poloni. And honestly, like, I was like, the back description, it says Kiara Navarez dreamed of a life of new on new worlds. Now she's awakened a nightmare. So it says during a routine survey mission on an uncolonized planet, Kira finds an alien relic. At first, she's delighted, but elation turns to terror when the ancient dust around her begins to move. As war erupts among the stars, Kira is launched into a galaxy spanning odyssey of discovery and transformation. First contact isn't at all what she imagined, and events push her to the very limits of what it means to be human. While Kira faces her own horrors, Earth and its colonies stand upon the brink of annihilation. Now she might be humanity's greatest and final hope.
Interesting.
Yeah, it says space holds countless secrets. She just found the deadliest one, and I'm like, with that, it's pretty vague, pretty open to anything that happen. Like, anything could happen. I was not expecting what to happen, like what she encountered and what it did, and does, and it's just really interesting. And so like I have no idea where it's gonna go, and I think that's just like the attraction of it is like,
Yeah.
I'm just going in completely blind, which it feels like. I've read the
Yeah.
prequel novel, which was really, it's called Fractal Noise, and it's supposed to be like a prequel novella kind of
Oh,
thing.
okay.
And so
I didn't know
apparently
that was connected.
apparently
Okay.
yeah, and so I didn't either until I got on Goodreads. I bought this and got on Goodreads, and I'm like, oh wait, I've read that. But apparently there's supposed to be more in this series, so that's exciting. Um,
That's one of those that I want to read just because the cover looks pretty. Like, I love the
it
cover for that, and I like, it's just such a vibe.
when it does
I
this,
love that
it
cover.
does this thing where like in between the chapter, like in the middle of a chapter, it'll like have like a scene, and then it'll say two, like put the letter two, and then it'll have stuff, and then three, and so it's like it'll do this thing where it has like five, and it'll like have breaks
Oh,
in the middle of a chapter, so it's really interesting. So it's like it chunks it. I don't know, it just interesting how it chunks itself up, but I'm really enjoying it. Like I like there's it's gives you little hints of like, oh, there could be more to this, or oh, this is not everything is as it seems here, or are these people good people or not. And
mm-hmm.
like she reveals things to them about herself and her situation, and it like has me sitting here thinking, okay, is that a good decision? Like, should you have told them this or not?
Oh,
And so it's
yeah,
like, yeah,
that's
like
cool.
and it's just really interesting.
Okay, so in no particular order, I am in a reading slump, so it's one of those I just grabbed a bunch of books that seem interesting. So the first one, and this is also kind of a book haul as well because my TBR is a bunch of books that I've bought lately, basically. Um, so I finally bought Dances with Wolves by Michael Blake, and this actually has the sequel with it, which I've never read. I read Dances with Wolves when I was in high school,
Mm-hmm.
and I grew up with the movie by Kevin Costner, and it shaped my entire being, like who I am and what I'm passionate about very much was impacted by Dances with Wolves and The Patriot and like just those kind of movies that I grew up with. Probably too young to watch them, but I'm really desensitized to like violence and stuff because of that. And like my passion for Native Americans and like the Lakota specifically and like learning about them came from Dances with Wolves. Now in the book they are, I think, Cheyenne. They're not Lakota, so the native changed in the movie. But it is still considered one of the best Western movies of like one of the greatest Western movies of all time, and one of the best Native American movies to portray their culture accurately and with care. Um, and it's considered a classic. The movie is. So the movie did a very good job. They probably changed it due to like cultural stuff and like being able to have
Mm-hmm.
access to more
Yeah.
Lakota like
Yeah.
actors and language people and stuff,
Yes.
which it's a
Yeah.
dying language by the way.
Hmm.
So, yeah, I don't know. I think it's like Cheyenne or something. Um, yeah, but the names of the characters are all the same. So I mean, and like the plot and stuff. I really enjoyed the book when I was in high school, and I kind of wanted to read it with like my adult self and my writer's brain and all the research that I've done into Immortal and like his era with the crazy horse and like the Lakota Sioux with that. I want to like see how it holds up with my research, my well-researched brain. And go from there. And because they never did make a second movie and I always felt like there could have been a sequel, and then when I found out that there was a sequel a few years ago, I was like, why have I never been told? How have I never read this book? So the soundtrack, whenever I would try to listen to Immortal, I would start to fall asleep. I didn't want to miss anything, so I would turn on instrumental music so I could sleep because Michael had his headphones in so he could listen to his banger music to keep him awake on the drive home. And I just listened to the Dances with Wolves soundtrack on instinct. And I have listened to the soundtrack so many times. It's my relaxation, it's my work, like it's just my comfort soundtrack. And I just recently listened to it on the drive home and I would fall asleep, and I did that the other day when I was like getting back into work and everything. So it got me every time I listen to the soundtrack I want to watch the movie, and now I want to watch the movie and read the book, and it's just a thing. So it's very much a mood right now. And listening to Immortal has gotten me in that like Native American kind of vibe again. So so that is Dances with Wolves. And the first one, I think if I read anything, my mood will probably shift me that direction, maybe.
Yeah, that's fair. So the next one in the I will eventually start reading Assassin's Blade. I think I'm gonna give myself a few days and then start it because I am still ahead of schedule on my thing. So
That's good.
that's the plan. Is eventually I'll start this one, but I just haven't yet because yeah, Sam. May he
Still
rest
not
in
over
peace.
that.
I know. It's a whole thing.
Sadder than the entire finale. It's sadder than the entire finale. Like, what the heck? Justice for Sam.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm fine.
And she includes lavender soap into her other series, and I'm just like, how dare you? Because that's the soap that it's her good soap, and she didn't let him use her good soap, and so he smelt like the cheap soap when she found him.
Oh,
And
not about that.
and so literally I think it's even in Crescent City too. Like she has an Easter egg of lavender soap, and I'm like, Sarah, why are you doing this to me? I, yeah. All right, what's your
Okay, my next one, I bought this a while back, so this isn't part of the book haul, but Dungeon Crawler Carl by Mac Dinneman. Listening to Rogue kind of got me into that whimsical kind of thing, but like it's like they're putting on a deadly competition, but it's done kind of in a humorous way. And I've heard so many good things about this book and that everybody loves it, and it doesn't have spice. So I'm like, it'd be nice to just kind of, and the opening is really hooking. Like I always read the first page now anytime I buy a book, because I have a habit of buying books and then like something happens in the first couple pages that turns me off. I'm like, I should not have done this. I should have just read the book real quick. Like, so I read the first pages to make sure I don't run into that problem anymore. And so the first few pages hooked me. And so I'm like, I really just need to get around to reading this book and giving it a chance.
Yeah.
And it's got, it's like fantasy dungeon for, being aired on TV type of thing. I don't know what to expect. And like, that's the thing a lot of people talk about who read it. Like, you can't explain this book and you can't predict this book because it's all over the place. So, and there's a talking cat. So
there you go.
Yeah. So that's my next one.
You could probably end up doing multiple because I only have one left. So if you have multiple, you can do another one.
Okay. Well, I bought when we were in our vacation at the Great Smoky Mountains, we ran into a bookstore and almost didn't get me out of it. But I found these two books, and they are Christian romantic suspense, which I write and I find very hard to find. Like, you don't see Christian with romantic suspense very much in a way that like kind of intrigues me. So this one I'm not as interested in right now, so that one's just part of the book haul. But this one, Over the Edge, it's a Summer Rangers novel, book one. I almost wanted to just buy the whole series, so my husband got me out of there before I did something drastic like that. So when a woman I can't talk. I cannot say this word for some reason. When a woman running from the mob meets a ranger haunted by his past, the Grand Canyon's dangers might be the least of their troubles. Tech-savvy hacker Nimue Hart has mastered the art of staying invisible, living off the grid near her airstream and hiding from the Russian mob who want her silenced. But when a rescue mission forces her into the spotlight, her carefully constructed world begins to crumble. Grand Canyon backcountry ranger Liam Kingsley buried his heart in the Swiss Alps a year ago after a tragic climbing accident. Now he keeps tourists safe and his emotions locked away until a mysterious woman with the secrets of her own makes him question everything he thought he knew about safety. As their worlds collide, Nimue and Liam must navigate more than just the treacherous canyon trails, and their growing trust in each other might be their only lifeline. But when Nimue's past catches up with them at the canyon's edge, Liam faces his worst nightmare all over again with a woman he can't bear to lose.
That sounds interesting.
So I'm like, I need to know what happened to Liam, and I need to know this tragedy. And the opening is Isaiah 43:2. When you pass through the waters, I will be with you. And when you pass through the rivers, they will not sweep over you. When you walk through the fire, you will not be burned. The flames will not set you ablaze. And I'm like, I love cool. that verse. And I love that she opened the book with it. So I'm looking forward to this one.
Yeah. Okay. The only other one that I had is at some point I may start this one, the next in the Bridgerton series.
So which one is that one? Because the TV mixed
Benedict.
Switched them. Benedict. Okay. That's my favorite one. That is my favorite one, my favorite couple. I am here for it, and I want to know. I'm curious how you like that. Like, OTP. Okay. Love them. Nothing will ever be better.
Okay.
They are my thing. In the TV show, at least. Okay. We'll see if the book, like, I cannot wait to chatter with you about that, to get all the dirty details.
Okay, sounds good.
All of them.
All right, that's all I had.
Okay. My next one is, and last one is A Stage Set for Villains, which we kind of bought at the same book haul. So I heard it's just very different, and it's about this, like, creepy playhouse type thing, and my sister was like, it's going to be a horror, and I'm like, it's probably more dark fantasy, but we'll see what I'm going to get myself into by reading this book. And Steven, a guy I like to watch on Instagram, basically said that he went to read it and just to try it out, and he could not stop reading it. And so I was like, okay, that's kind of like the kind of books that I like, is when you hook me and can keep me going. So that's another one I'm really interested to try. I'm just not sure I'm in the mood for that genre, but I'm really excited for that book, though.
Yeah. So
we'll see. And who knows, there may be some other random book I find that I'll read instead of this TBR list, because, you know, it happens. Fair. I'm in a reading slump, so I don't know what I'm going to be in the mood for, and that's the problem.
That's fair.
City of Ashes, I need to continue it as well. I just didn't bring it with me, so.
That's fair. Okay, the only other thing that I wanted to mention before we wrap up is that Suzanne Collins, one of the things is she talked in a People magazine article, she said that she would recommend that her books be read in the order they were written, largely because the thematic conversation that the series follows start with the Hunger Games trilogy, followed by this Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, and then the Sunrise on the Reaping. The trilogy explores just war theory in an authoritarian state. So she kind of goes into more detail, but she recommends them reading them in the order that they were written, which I was like,
that's interesting.
Yeah. And then there's a new. In September 2nd, we're gonna get an Asterion prequel novel that. On Instagram, it was advertised that we would follow Asterion's story leading up to the events of the game. So we're going to kind of get his backstory in more detail. And get like an actual novel from his perspective. That's this year.
My brain blank, and I don't know who we're talking about.
My favorite person in Baldur's Gate 3 of all time.
Oh. Okay, I was still in Hunger Games, and I was wrapping my breast like, I don't remember anybody being Asterion.
No, you're good.
Trying to follow. I want that now. I want Asterian's backstory.
I'm so excited. It's supposed to come out in...
You're upset.
The article that I saw said September 2nd, so I don't know if that's accurate, but I'm assuming.
Is going to be like a big, like the fall season is going to be like so much.
I know.
To read.
One thing
couple of things before we wrap up.
One interesting thing, the last thing that I had was that Carissa Broadbent posted on Threads talking about her upcoming. I'm assuming she was talking about the Lion in the Deathless Dark, but
Mm-hmm.
I'm assuming that's what she was talking about because she said for those who may not be caught up, you can actually pick this one up without having read the others. All previous characters make appearances and play a part, but it takes place 10 years into the future, and I made sure to write it so that anyone could read it. And
Why are we jumping 10 years?
I
What the
know,
heck?
I know. I don't, that, like, she's laid out the entire series one way, and then in the last chunk decides to, I don't know. I'm
Make it
just
like a standalone
I don't know.
and jump into the future? Is that kind of, you're just not sure
Yeah.
what to expect?
Yeah, I just don't know what to expect. So, yeah.
Well, we will see. I'm not looking forward to that one because it seems more lusty than the others, and I'm just
Yeah.
not looking. I don't think the romance is going to be good, and I'm afraid because I love her books and I love her couples, and she does them really like the first books of each duology has been so good.
Yeah.
I'm worried about that I won't like this one
Yeah,
when
that's
I
fair.
genuinely loved the previous ones, and then her last book that came out, which was the second one in the second set, with the two characters I can't remember the names of, got more lusty and ridiculous with it than the other one. So I don't have a lot of hopes, but I'm hoping she can exceed those
Yeah. That makes sense.
expectations or whatever.
Yeah.
So I had just a couple of things, because some of my other ones can wait. I figured you would appreciate this because you love like reading order type of stuff. So somebody random on the internet, I don't know what, either Instagram or TikTok, had posted the entire reading order for the Shadowhunters universe, but Cassandra Clare shared that on her Facebook, and I saw it, and so that means that it's like she approves it, and like this is the order that you should read, and this person says it well, so follow this thing. And so I'm not going to go over each book, but she covers like it by the sets. So the Mortal Instruments series, the first Mortal Instruments trilogy, which is City of Bones, City of Ashes, City of Glass, those are where you're supposed to start, according to this reading order. And then you jump to the Clockwork ones, the ones in the past. So Clockwork Angel, Clockwork Prince, and then Clockwork Princess. And then you go back and you read the second Mortal Instruments set, which is City of Fallen Angels, City of Lost Souls, and City of Heavenly Fire, which are my favorites. And then you do the Dark Artifices, which is Lady Midnight, Lord of Shadows, and Queen of Air and Darkness. And then you read the latest one that came out, which was another past one, which is Chain of Gold, Chain of Iron, Chain of Gold, and something else. I don't know the three of them, but those ones. And then she also included all of the side ones in there, but there's the one that's like the gay couple gets their own. They have two books that are side books out, and Jason and Clary don't have anything. So I'm personally rage quitting and not reading those. And then there's a couple of like collection books in there that touch on some of the things. So that's kind of like the general reading order for the Shadowhunters universe for anybody who's interested, especially since it's nice to do a read through before the new one comes out that ties, it's book one and the final set that's going to tie all the books together. So we have years before the final one will come out. But I still really want to just brush up and read all the things. So my next one was actually like right before we went live, this video popped up on my YouTube thing, and it was this whole thing that broke out. So BookCon 2026 just happened, and I guess it's like this, it's BookCon. I don't know how to explain it. If you know, it's like you go there, you get a bunch of authors, you can have them sign stuff, and there was a short TikTok video that was like 10 seconds long that showed this one lady going up to get a book plate, not a book, but a book plate, which is where you just have the author's signature and you can put it in your book in case you don't want them to sign the actual book. She was getting a book plate signed by the author Tracy Dion, and she went on, and the lady, the woman getting the book plate signed, basically was talking about how much this author impacted her life and how much she loved the series. And the author basically kind of like interrupted her to say, where am I supposed to sign this? Like, where do you want me to sign this? Because it was just a big blank piece of paper. It wasn't like clear where she was supposed to sign it. And the clip ends, and so the lady posted this, and then everybody on the internet had something to say about it, and it's broken out into this scandal. So some people were canceling the author, trying to burn her books. There are videos of people actually actively burning her books because she was rude to this person who was pouring out her heart and soul. And like the person that I watched, I appreciated Susanna Freisen on YouTube. Shout out to her. I loved her take on it because she actually like talked about how stressful this would have been, and like, you know, we don't know anything beyond the context of like what's happened. And at BookCon, there are long lines, you have to keep the lines moving, and it's not a meet and greet, it's a get your book signed by the author. And then for me, like, I've been at one book signing where there was just like 3 people over the whole night, and I'm still stressed. I can't imagine having to keep the line moving and like keep it at a pace. And like a lot of other people, some people had the take of like, do you not have friends or family you can rant to? Like, why do people have to rant on the internet now for all to see and potentially ruin an author's career over one rude interaction?
That's where people that have never been in that situation, have never had like hundreds of people standing in a line to get something signed by you, and with the potential like risk of having them get mad if you run out of time, and then people at the end of this line have waited there for hours only to not get you to have your stuff signed, and then have to deal with that PR madness. It's like the girl walking up, yes, I understand that's like a one in a lifetime opportunity to meet your person, and that's where it's just, she should have worded it differently. She should have had a more concise, like 1 to 2 sentences, and understood that this is not a meet and greet. This is not a, I am going to go up there with you, take a picture, you know, like side hug and take a picture with you. This is not one of those moments. This is a, you know, as the author, I would have just signed somewhere. I wouldn't have like made the point of asking her. If I saw that person was talking and was like pouring out their heart, I would have just signed somewhere and just said, yeah, that's awesome. I'm glad that my series could help you, and then give it back to her and then let her go. Like, that's where you don't need to ask. Just sign somewhere. And it's like, but then again, you have those Karens that are going to be picky and say, well, she wrote on the wrong spot, and now it looks ugly because she wrote her name in this one corner, and it's just an ugly corner. Yeah. And you have those people that are going to be like that. And so it's like, it's a weird situation all the way around. And from what I understood, like from the video clips that I saw from BookCon, is like they were surprised at like how many people showed up. So I think there's more people that showed up to this BookCon than what they were expecting, or what has in the past. Or at least I'm wanting to say I saw that somewhere. Saw that like hinted at somewhere. There's been a bunch
of like how it was a disaster. Like BookCon itself was like, I haven't really researched into it, but supposedly it was like this whole thing where a bunch of stuff just happened and it wasn't as good as people thought or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
I've never gone, so I didn't know anything about it, but
that's fair.
Yep.
Alrighty, well, let us know what your plans are to read for May. If there's any books that are coming out that you're excited for, or just maybe like a book that just really stands out to you. It's very unique, very different. Like maybe it's hard to describe, you know. It's just a very unique book. Let us know. And we will see y'all later.
Yep, and may the 4th be with you.
Yes, may the 4th be with you. Oh, goodness, I'm sneezing now. May the 4th be with you.
May the 4th be with you.
All right. Bye.
Bye.